Hello. It's Juel Fitzgerald for Monday Admissions from the Heart. Wow, we're halfway through the month. I mean, 2 Mondays from now. Wow, 2 Mondays from now, it will be February 1st. Time zooming. God always has my life to the full, as you are well aware of. I mean, he's been busy with student driving, red coats, service, ushering church, whatever. It's just been busy. Having great times with family, grandson over the weekend, and just in the last few days, I've been just beat because it's been so much I've been doing back to back, up late doing one thing, up early the next day doing something else. I'm like, So God gave me an unexpected day of rest today. Today is actually Martin Luther King Day. And I was originally planning to ride with students today. I mean, it's a holiday, the kids are off from school, and it's a perfect day to get a chance to help students learn how to drive. And I'm thinking, people are like, what is a holiday? You're supposed to take the day off. And it's Martin Luther King Day on in particular. You really should be taking a day off. And it's like, yes and no, because of him, I have the option to be off because of some of the great things he did and able to in order to allow me as a African American to do the things that I do. Unlike what was going on in his time. But I chose to put myself on the schedule for about 3 students. Then, as it turns out, I said, nope, we're going to change that schedule. I only got a chance to do 1 student today. 1. And that was because we got the 1 student. Actually, was slotted for 3. Only 2 were filled by the office, which was interesting. Like, why wasn't the 3rd one filled? Because these students were off today. And I don't know, maybe somebody wasn't available for the 3rd one. So I was like, not crying about that. So fine, I'll be good. I'll do 2. I'll be home earlier than planned and be able to chill out for the rest of the day. And then actually have time to do this Monday's Admissions from the Heart and maybe do the devotional because I didn't get a chance to do that yesterday. But no, I had 2 students on the list, did have a ride with 1 student. And while we were out there, a squall came up all of a sudden. That was definitely not in the forecast. And because of that squall, the 2nd student they were already nervous because they had never, ever driven on the snow. And now with the weather turning kind of funky, the mother said, no, let's not do this. So we rescheduled. So I only had 1 student, got home super early. I was like, ooh, cool. I get to be home, be here, chilling. And it's just been nice, just chilling here, relaxing, with nothing to do. Granted, I did get a chance to read a couple books while I was here because that's something I need to always want to do more of, to read. And so I just love it when I get a chance to do that. It's one of my favorite things to do, read, but I don't always have time to read because I'm doing so much. So I'm at a place where I've been making a point to make sure I get some reading in, let alone the writing. So if you had a chance to read my devotional not actually my devotional, it was actually a blog I wrote on my author's blog about how God is re-gearing me up to finish some of the book projects that I have coming up. And I'm think I'll put that link down here so you can read that particular piece on how he set me up for 2026 to start working on these other 2 projects that he has for me in addition to the books I've already written. So we're gearing up for that. Granted, I'm always writing something every week anyway, and I'm always talking to you every week. And then sometimes I'm talking to you when I travel, and then I'm writing something when I travel. So anyway, this last few days, like I said, it's been real busy with the Red Coat action, spending time with my grandson because he comes over once a month to spend the night. We had a great time with him, going to a basketball game. Haven't been to a basketball game. This was a college basketball game, Cleveland State, in decades. That was kind of fun because that game was so much fun. It was like we were on the edge of our seat the whole time. So it wasn't, we like, oh, and I'm glad the team, Cleveland State, won. Like 2 points, man. It was close. It was a little fearful for a minute. They're like, no, okay. So that was good to do that. And he hadn't even gone to a basketball game before either. So he kind of enjoy doing that because he's a gamer. So for him to see a real game and he's not the one involved in the game was a whole lot different for all of us at that moment. So I was like, oh, okay, that was kind of fun. Because last time I was at a college game was at Kent State. And that was really decades ago, like I said. Can't even think of when the last time I was at a Cavs game. I don't even know when that would have been, let alone a football game. So whatever. So busy, hectic. Lots of time spent awake. So today when I had to get up early to go do this one student, I was like, okay, let's get this done and do this. And then wait, like, I would have loved to have slept in, but it didn't happen. So since God said, oh, don't worry about it. You're going to get more rest than you plan for today. I love it when God gives me time to rest when I wasn't scheduling it. I mean, I do a lot, and I intentionally have done things where I've made sure I get rest because we all need to get rest. We have to have some time, downtime. We cannot be running ragged all the time, because running ragged all the time is a slow death, literally a physical slow death, not just a spiritual slow death. I mean, a slow death if we don't allow our bodies to physically rest, let alone to let our minds spiritually rest. So I've been reading this book called Whispers of Rest. I don't know if you can see that. Got a funny feeling it's flipped backwards. So I don't know how to make that say, but it's Whispers of Rest, and it's by Bonnie Gray. She's an excellent writer. I've read a lot of her stuff, and this one is in particular. I'm reading him in the middle of it. So I want to just read a few words. She talks about getting rest here. And it says, sometimes you run out of words. You don't feel like praying, and God feels far away. Even though you know you ought to pray, the act feels like another box to check, which leaves you feeling guilty. Life is complicated. In an age of information, a Google search away, with friends on Facebook posting photos and updates, we will forget real life is an unfolding journey without easy answers. We look at our everyday lives overwhelmed with dilemmas and conflicting desires, and we get discouraged. We feel soul stressed. Soul as in S-O-U-L, because it almost like I said soul stress. We feel S-O-U-L stress. Our souls are stressed. Ironically, when we're most stressed, we often deprive ourselves of what we need most, God's goodness. We often burn ourselves out trying to serve God rather than taking care of ourselves the way God would want if He were here in person today. Somehow we've learned we don't deserve rest until we've solved our problems or we're no longer struggling. It's the opposite. What we need is God's TLC, His tender, loving care. TLC is what God gave Elijah to resuscitate his soul after his spirit was broken. We need to choose rest. Even though Elijah did everything he knew to do, even defeating the prophets of Baal, his problems didn't go away. Stress spoke Elijah's spirit. Listen to his whispers. It isn't enough, Lord. Take my life, for I am no better than my fathers. This is in 1 Kings 9:4. So Elisha ran away. He didn't want to see anyone or do anything anymore. He felt demoralized and done. Then he fell asleep. Yet God did not leave him or lecture him. God didn't move on to use someone else. God loved Elijah deeper and drew him closer. In that place of despair, Elijah woke up to find fresh bread, baking on hot stones and water that God had left just for him. Warm bread, water poured in a jar, beautiful care expressed through handmade touches. Not only that, God sent an angel to touch him. But Elijah was so exhausted that one touch wasn't enough. God sent the angel a second time to touch him again. So when you find it's hard to pray, don't be afraid. You're standing at the very cusp of who God longs to connect with, the real you. Your heart needs God's intimate touch. Take the time to rest. Be his beloved. And the scripture I want to remind us of is in Deuteronomy 33:12, which says, "Let the beloved of the Lord rest secure in him, for he shields him all day long. And the one the Lord loves rests between his shoulders." Wow, just thinking about that. God wants you to rest between his shoulders. Man, that's something that we all need to do. Rest, and get more rest between God's shoulders. So don't let us be so busy every single day that we're not resting in between God's shoulders, spiritually, physically. Let's get that rest. And I'm so glad God gave me this extra rest, because I knew I was going to get a few hours today, but he's giving me more today just to chill and do nothing. It almost feels kind of strange for me to sit here chilling and I don't have nothing on my agenda. And so it's like 4:00 in the afternoon. I still got tons of hours to go before I go to bed. And I'm like, I have nothing on my agenda. So resting with God right now between his shoulders, and have dinner tonight, which is, right now I'm trying to think, what was I planning for dinner? I don't know, but it'll come. So let's just get that rest we need. Don't overwork. Get that time with God, and let's rest between his shoulders. We'll talk about something next week on Mondays and Missions from the Heart.